how we should use our theoretical knowledge in public forums.
How we should use our theoretical knowledge in public forums, yeah.
As in whether we should, whether it's really, who does it help? Who does it help to give a clinical description of a mental illness, or to correct somebody in a public forum?
It doesn't help anybody. And both of us know this from even our own training and from our many years of experience in the field.
Me, I think I would bring it down to experience.
Yeah.
As in, and you know, when I think about how we were schooled, how we were taught, we were never told how to talk to people about mental health. Were we told? I mean, like in a therapeutic setting, yes. But were we taught about how to talk to people about mental health? Like seriously, just think about it for a minute.
Especially for the settings I've been in, no, that was not taught in class.
Exactly, it
Yeah.
wasn't taught in class.
Yeah.
And we find ourselves in a situation where I think more than ever before, people need to understand what this mental health issue is all about in a way that they can digest it, but it not choke them,
Yeah.
but it in a way that they also not just regurgitate. And I'm saying that because I went for this AGM.
Yeah.
Then there was this guy who came that he was going to talk to parents about parenting. And the guy starts making our current situation about poor parenting and marriages that are failing into like a comedy session. So, okay, number one, first of all, in my view, he was not qualified to talk about parenting and failing marriages. But I feel like if as professionals we don't step in to bridge the gap of the collapse of mental wellness in our community, we are giving room for even comedians to come and make light of very important issues in the name of helping. And so he was talking about how, which is true, but it's almost as if you don't make mental health issues something to laugh about, if you don't tell a story where one person in the end
Went mad.
yes, then people are not interested. Like you have to,
It has to have a dramatic end.
yes, and there has to be a comedic effect with laughter. So it's either that or you're like some people I know and they stand in front of people and basically take the theoretical aspects of the teaching and give it to the public, and guys are left like, what are you saying? Like, what are you talking about? Which term? Do I need to Google this? As in, so how to make this work? And of course, like I was telling you, somebody wrote me and said to me, these people, they should have spoken clearly from the DSM-5. You should have corrected them. And this is a public forum where somebody is giving their own account of their mental health challenges. And I was like, oh, so I'm supposed to stop that person and say, that's not according to the DSM-5. Let me tell you what the DSM-5 says. Like, what have I achieved? So, and I come back to this thing I keep telling you. You know, this education we have on mental health, it was given to us by people whose societies are doing pretty well mental health wise in terms of reducing stigma, access to care, cover from insurance, not being punishable by law. They've taken care of that.
They've done a lot.
They've done a lot. And
Research.
then, yes, research, and then we go to these schools and all the books we read. are either from the West or from Europe. Do you even read any books from South Africa? Do you remember reading any from South Africa?
No, I don't. I only read research from South Africa because it was relevant to. Actually, I met one of the researchers. He was one of the people who was in my previous work, and he does research, quite serious research on the kind of trauma I was working with. But that is just one researcher.
In Africa, in South Africa.
In South Africa,
Yeah.
yeah.
So for me, I feel like that's the biggest challenge we have, that we have to take this education, own it, but then we have to have a sort of a cultural application to it. And what I find to be so interesting is that, so I did business as my minor.
Yeah.
And even in business, we had something called cross-cultural understanding of business, you know, but we don't have the same for psychology. I don't know why.
Yeah.
We should never look at our society as a shamba where you go and it's the planting season and you dig those 2 holes and then you go putting seeds inside. I feel like for us, it's virgin land, it's grassy, it has weeds, it has... You know, I was telling you about that thing. It looks like a sisal, but it's not sisal. Hey, me and tell you, when I first went to that shamba.
And it's a weed.
And it's a weed. You know that thing, you cut it, it grows again, regardless of the weather. You cut it, it grows again. So you have to dig down and uproot it. And then you have to burn it. Because if you don't do that, it will come up again. So sometimes I feel like our setting of psychology is virgin land.
It is.
We can't approach it like, I'm going to go and chimba it and then start planting seeds. We are so far from there. I feel like we are at that point of, first you have to clear that shamba, take out the weeds, you know, plow it to like let the air go in, and you turn over the salt, the soil, and then we can have a conversation starting from there. But I think we're very far from what we were taught, and we need to adapt. That's my take.
Yeah, yeah. And to take your metaphor of the virgin land, what are those things that we are trying to clear? For example, the things that we are trying to clear in our virgin land here in Africa is stigma.
Yes, number uno.
Number one is stigma of, people who suffer from mental health issues, which is so many of the population. Everybody will go through some stress here and there in their life. It might not turn into a severe mental disorder, but it will bring some psychological disturbance at some point.
Right.
But there's still that stigma because there's a lack of knowledge, there's a lack of education. So that is one thing we need to clear in our shamba.
Stigma.
The other thing we need to clear in our shamba is research. We need to start consuming our own research and not just copy paste what is from the West, because we need to understand the phenomena in our setting so that we can treat it appropriately and not be providing foreign treatment methods for... They might work still, but you need to find the way in which they work in this setting. Even businesses of other things will tell you it's true that when they go to a different market, when I listen to the business news, when I listen to somebody who is in the South African market, let's even just think of Africa now. If the person is in the South African market and they want to come to the Kenyan market, they're not going to copy and paste what they've been doing in South Africa and bring it to Kenya. Why? Because Kenya is a different culture setup, it's a different stage in development, different purchasing power. You're not going to bring all BMWs for Kenyans to purchase because Kenyans are not all able to buy BMWs. You see, so there's all these things that you have to customize for the people who you are supporting. So secondly, we need to consume our own research. So that is the next thing in our virgin land we need to apply. The other thing is how we apply the clinical skills. And that comes to your point of, am I going to go and give people what we call didactic knowledge? You know, didactic teaching is the one that a teacher does in a classroom, the one we went through when we were being taught all these concepts. So is that really helpful for the client or the people in the public who you're trying to educate about mental health? It's not. So you need to make it a conversation. You need to be able, as a practitioner, to digest what has been taught to you in a classroom and be able to give it up to the population or to the masses in a way that is almost like a story, like a storytelling. Okay? And if it's your client, you also need to not start telling them, oh, by the way, you know, you're suffering from bipolar, you know, unipolar depression.
Nobody
and
cares.
These are the... You cannot do that. You need to be able to digest all that. Yes, it's true, you know it, and that's the correct knowledge, yes. But tell it in a way that this person understands in their language.
Not only even understands, but owns it and is willing to be a collaborator in their own care.
And here is the trick. If you, for those of us who've been in the field, if you think you're going to go like that to the field, and then you go and meet somebody who speaks another language, so where does that go with all your unipolar depression jargon?
Especially the language of denial.
Yes, language of denial, but even just a language, let's say Giriama.
Kikamba, yes, that's
so
true.
Try go telling somebody who is Giriama about unipolar depression. Try finding a word for unipolar depression in Giriama, okay? You see, so it will not work. This is why you have to learn the skill of digesting knowledge. Learn the skill of digesting knowledge in a way that whatever language somebody is speaking, you'll still be able to have your message get across to them. We've both done this, and we've seen when you work with people who speak, and sometimes you'll even have somebody who doesn't speak the same language as you. So you're talking through an interpreter.
Right.
So how is that message, if you're talking about unipolar depression and this interpreter also has not theoretical knowledge, and expect it to reach people's ears?
It can't. It can't. And you know, for me, I feel like the best thing we can do, because I think people who speak like this deserve our understanding and our compassion. Yeah, so me, I just want to say to anybody out there who probably is doing an internship or ready to do an internship, we can help you by teaching you some of the wisdom that we have collected over the years about how to be able to do this, because one thing that we cannot allow to continue or to happen under our watch is intellectual arrogance. Because more than anything else, intellectual arrogance is what is actually holding us back.
Amen.
I am too good. I know too much to come down to your level. And we can't have young people who haven't graduated or just recently graduated who already think that of themselves. Because what you know, your skills, your knowledge, your expertise is only as good as you're able to translate it to people to make their lives better in terms of, you know, taking better care of their mental health. So I think it's a question of, would you rather create impact or would you rather stay with the knowledge that you're so smart? See, that's the bottom line. Ama
Yeah.
nimeongea mbaya.
No, no, it's true, because if you're all about how much I know, it's about you.
Exactly.
It's not about the client. It's not about the client.
Yeah.
So that's just what we call your ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we're to really talk about the client in the Kenyan setting, man, the client is not aware. The client is ignorant. The client is suspicious. The client is filled with all elements of denial, from cultural to religious to spiritual to personal, and the client is also filled with a knowing but a desire to not want to go there. So, of course, any day, hands down, you will be the person with more information that they have about what's going on with them and therefore what they require. So, we are virgin land. We need to just accept that's where we are and model our approaches to actually help us achieve our objectives. And that is if it is to raise the bar of mental health care at a personal level, at a family level, at a community level, at a sub-county level, at a county level, and at a national level. We have to accept where we are at and customize ourselves to meet ourselves where we are at in order to move forward to where we want to go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And in the next video, let's make something interesting. Maybe we can also teach something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like the psychology of corruption. Why are people corrupt?
Actually, we should.
Right?
That's